Hey everybody, my name is Jim Farmer. I'm the festival director of Out on Film. Thanks for joining us this year. This is our 34th year of presenting stories for, by, and about our community, as well as its allies. This is, however, our first hybrid festival, meaning that we have films in theater, and we also have films virtually as well. One of the great films that we had this year that is both in theater and virtual is Boy Meets Boy. And we are ecstatic to have the director of the film today, Daniel Sanchez Lopez. I'm going to read a quick description of the film, and then we're going to have a great conversation with Daniel. So anyway, Harry has been partying for 48 hours when he meets Johannes on the dance floor of a club in Berlin. With 15 hours until his flight home, Johannes offers to help him print his boarding pass. This mundane task leads to a day together wandering around the city. The contrast in their lives and values force each other to confront their own truths. This film is a film that we all very much love here at Out on Film. I'm very excited to share it with our audience, both in theater and virtually as well. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting me to your lovely festival in Atlanta. I'm really happy to be here chatting with you today.
Thank you so much. Have you ever been to Atlanta?
I never been in Atlanta. I only been I was living 5 months in Boston. I had a boyfriend there.
Okay.
And I was in Boston, New York, Lake San Francisco, but never in Atlanta. But I have good friends there who are going to watch the movie in theater. So I'm really happy
Okay. That's great.
for the event.
Nice. Well, how did this film come up for you? What was the genesis?
Genesis is basically I studied in a film school in Denmark, and for the last project, like the thesis, like when you finish your year, you need to submit a short film that you want to produce, that you want to make. And I remember that Boy Meets Boy was born as a short film to be shot in Copenhagen, and the school didn't select the project. They didn't say a lot, but then the principal, the director of the film school, came to me off the record and told me, "You know, Daniel, we didn't take your movie because it's okay to be gay in Denmark. We don't need these stories. Yeah, it's okay." And then that made me thought all the time like they really didn't take the movie just because they thought that this movie that the only reason of this movie is just because it's gay. I don't know. It get me really sad also to be part of this school too. And then basically 7 people from the school encouraged me to keep working in the movie and make it. And now they are part of the movie. It's like the camera assistant, the writer, the editor, the continuity supervisor, everybody who is in the movie is part of this school. And yeah, more or less, this is the genesis. Yes.
Nice. I want to ask you, was there any particular inspiration or like the characters in the movie? Do you know people like these, or are these completely original characters?
Let's see. Well, when I was writing the story after the no of the film school, and then when we decided to make it a feature film, the screenwriter Hannah Renton and me, like we're both screenwriters, we put a lot in one character, a lot of us in one of the characters. So it was basically a conversation between her and me. So it's based in us in our lives, but it's true that at one point, like I could see myself in both characters all the time. So I don't at this time I don't know who I am anymore. But when I was writing it, I was representing one, and the co-writer was representing another.
Okay. All right. So this is such a what I love about this film is that it's very character driven. It's really about these two people meeting, having this chance to encounter and talking and getting to know each other and discussing their differences and trying to find out more about each other and themselves. But how would you describe the two main characters at the beginning of the movie before they meet each other?
But I think Harry is this cynical, sadistic like is a doctor, so has this scientist way of thinking, is really
Mhm.
practical, really, and so let's say not negative, but maybe realistic, probably more negative than Johannes, you know, but it's this person who needs to have sex just because he has this need, but is unable to get emotional attachment to the other people, you know?
Mhm.
And on the other side, Johannes is this idealistic, positive, privileged family, you know, a privileged medium class family who believes in love because he has seen a little bit, you know, like it's like, is the internet working? Oh no, yes, the internet is working. And it's they're also both in the 20s. So I think those helps them to shape their personalities too, you know.
Okay.
Do you get it? I for 1 second my screen
Yeah,
froze.
we
I
I mean
will
we can edit this a little bit, but if you could just maybe repeat just a little bit of that again, just so we can edit out that first portion. Just talk to me. We were talking about the two characters before they meet.
perfect. The two characters before they meet, they are Harry, who is like a doctor
Hmm.
working in London. And he, as a doctor, he has this scientist way of thinking. He's really practical, really, I would say that it's also cynical and a bit like negative, uh, or more realistic, more pragmatic. That's why
Hmm.
he needs sex just for a need, you know, like he has no emotional connections or attachments to the relationship and intimacy.
Hmm.
And on the other side, Johannes is more like more idealistic, more romantic, more like bright, more also more um, ingenious, like naive, and also he's a contemporary dancer, so he's coming from this artistic world. So I think he each position in the mid 20s, and they both are a bit lost, and also they're finding who are them, you know, like they're like searching for the identities at the same time. So the
Exactly.
movie Brief Encounter, I think, is also you know, like a coming of age somehow, like a discovery of who I am, but for real, you know, because they both find something new that they didn't know about themselves.
Exactly. How does their encounter, they meet sort of by chance, but how does it change them? How does it change each other's, you know, views, and how does their life, I mean, what does it do to me toward them?
I think, you know, like more than a love story, it's more a story of self-discovery.
Hmm.
They, by listen to the chat to the other, I think they get to conclusions that they didn't have before. Maybe because they didn't have this kind of brief encounter before, you know,
Exactly.
and that's why the movie finished as should finish. I don't know if I should say how it finished, but I don't know. But basically, I think by listening to others, and also I think by listening to themselves, they realize about who are them. You know, sometimes something is not real until you say it in words, and then it
Okay.
became real.
Exactly.
And I think that's why it's so important that the movie was a talkie, like a talk of 75 minutes. You know,
Yeah.
like
So you directed this, and you wrote it as well, correct?
I wrote it, directed, and produced it.
Oh wow. Well, look at you. Um, these characters, they're very, they're very three-dimensional. They each, you meet these people and you feel like, there's a whole sense there of these characters are very authentic. When you were writing this, how did you work on just creating these two characters and creating their backstories and just bringing them so fully to life on screen?
But thank you so much for thinking that they are complex characters. It was really important for me to create queer, complex characters, because really often I see queer characters really one-dimensional in cinema. So for me, it was really important to make characters that were contradictory to themselves, that they were, like complex. And how I did it, I wrote a lot about the characters, also for the acting, like it was really important for them to know where they were coming from, how was their childhood, a lot of things that you don't know in the movie, that they don't give the information, but they know, they know, they know their lives, as a character. And also because the movie was so much improvised, like everything is improvised, I needed to have a really precise character description. So I think the script is like 40 pages, but the character description from each of them is also 40 pages, so
Sure.
they like I made them a list of Spotify songs of which music do you listen. I
Okay.
send them, they know everything about their lives, so that's why it was easy for them to improvise, because they knew the answers.
Yeah. I was about to ask you because, on the one hand, it feels like these characters are just fully drawn, but some of the conversations that they have with each other, I was curious if it was fully scripted, or there are moments when you just let the characters and the actors ad lib, and you sort of answer this. So there is some improvisation in the film.
It's half-half. Like it's a lot of improvisation. Everything is improvisation, but also a lot of writing the characters. And also sometimes they say the lines that I wrote, not a lot of times, but when we were repeating a take or a second take, third take, fourth take, the only thing I was asking them always was say the same thing, but with other words. Like I didn't care that much about the words, if no more about the meaning and about to seem honest, like natural.
Exactly. How did you go about finding your two lead actors?
Mm. That was the most scary thing because I knew that the movie will only work if these two actors had chemistry.
Exactly.
And mm, like it was so clear for me that they needed to be two really good actors with a lot of chemistry. And basically, I saw like 100 guys. That is
Wow.
not so much. I don't think it's so much, but well, I also kind of like did the casting myself and did like 6 sections, one in London. And then from these 100 guys, I did a selection of the best eight.
Hmm.
And then I made like a workshop for one day with the eight of them. So the whole day we were like doing exercises, doing like telling about our lives, a bit also therapy, was not only just acting, it's not us to getting to know each other. And then at the end of the day, I gave them like a test in paper, asking them more like private things, more like like things like who would you like to perform with, like who are the guy that you like the most. So now after that I read all these papers and then I put them together more or less as they wanted, and also I tried different scenes. And these Johannes and Harry, like Matthew and Alexis, were the last of the day. And it's true that when I was seeing in there, I was like, wow, they are so natural. They have something that I cannot explain with words, that they, I believe in them when they talk, like, so it was the only possibility that these two actors were Harry and Johannes.
you know, I'm a little bit, I imagine I'm a little bit older than you are. You know, it's interesting looking at this film because yeah, I come from a generation which is just different than today's generation. There's so much more. They're just different generations. When I grew up, you know, there was no prep. There was it was a different era with AIDS. There was really not much in terms of open relationships. It was just different. There was no grinder. There was no internet. It was just harder meeting people and making a connection. So I think that in a lot of sense, you know, in a lot of ways, this generation has more of an advantage of being able to, you know, of saying that. But having said that, it's still, you know, as gay men, we all, you know, making connections is hard, you know, no matter
Mhm.
whether you grew up in the 70s, 80s, whether you grew up now. I mean, can you talk a little bit about the fact that, you know, these two people may have some advantages that their other generation didn't have, but it's still hard to exist as a gay man and meet other gay people and just navigate the world of dating and relationships. Can you talk about that?
Of course. Actually, that was a trigger for me. I read this article in the Huffington Post that
Mhm.
is called Forever Alone. I think it's Forever Alone or Forever Two. No, Forever Alone, no. Together Alone, Together Alone.
Okay.
Well, Alone Together, I think it's called Alone Together. Well,
Okay.
it's an article that talks about loneliness in the gay community and about loneliness in the gay community in urban spaces and how also a lot of possibilities to meet people
Mhm.
with Grindr or like gay bars or gay safe spaces, you know, like or like other spaces. It doesn't mean that the relationships are more meaningful or that are like uh, always positive, you know. So
Mhm.
this article made me reflect a lot about myself and about the life I have, and um, and it's there, you know, like in Boy Meets Boy, you can see this worry about loneliness. I think both characters basically are struggling with loneliness.
Exactly.
One because that is unable to find a boyfriend and to find a person who connect with because can only have sex, and the other one because it's with someone who doesn't love, but he's scared to be alone, so he rather prefer to be with someone who doesn't love than be alone. So they both struggling with loneliness, and I think it's the motto of the film.
Sure. And you said it a lot more articulately than I did. But I guess what I was trying to make is that there are more advantages of this generation. We still deal with the same things. We still deal with loneliness and confusion on how to meet people and just the struggle to how do we connect? How do we learn to have relationships as gay men and be comfortable in our own skin and navigate the dating world? So yeah, that was much more articulate than what I had to say. So this
No, no,
film,
but I don't know the answer. Like, what will, I don't know. I wonder sometimes when I see people from, I don't know what is your generation, but maybe you are 10 years older than me. And I feel, I don't know, I think there are values that I envy for your generation as well. I see like gay friendship that are like family, like brotherhood, you know, that I
Mhm.
don't know if we are also lacking this nowadays, you know, like we are more individual and more, I don't know, like at least in a gay bar you were with a ton of gay guys around, no? And in Grindr you are with one person who pop up in your house. It's a bit Amazon, no?
Sure.
So I don't know if the community, I don't know if this way of meeting people is also making the community more individual and more like close-minded. I don't know.
Sure. So when did you film this? When was it made?
It was the summer before the coronavirus. That was in the 2019. Yeah, and it was for 3 weeks, 15 days.
Oh, wow. Did you
It was
have
hard.
to delay the release because of COVID?
I didn't need to do. I yes, of course, I had a lot of problem with COVID, but
I had to turn my phone off. Sorry about that. Okay.
No, no worries. It's fine. Great. Like I had obviously all the problems that filmmaker could have with the coronavirus. You know, like the studios were closed to do the sound mix, to do the correction.
Mhm.
The distribution was a hell because the cinemas were closed for 1 year and a half. We had the movie ready from early 2021, but we didn't want to release it in online festivals, no,
Yeah.
because you make your film to be in a theater. So it was like the festival were passing. So we had all these struggles, but at the same time, I need to confess that it was helpful because I had more time to edit. You know, like instead of make the movie in 4 months, I had 1 year, and my editor is my flatmate. So the movie was always at home, you know, and we were like, well, it's better than working in your movie when it's a lockdown, you know. So I think in that sense we had a lot of time to think about it and what was working and what is not working, and you can see in the movie
Nice.
because you didn't see the first version, obviously, but I tell you that it helped the to make this slow cook editing help for the final product.
Exactly. So if I'm correct, you've been picked up for distribution in the United States.
We have distribution in the United States. Alicia,
Congratulations.
thank you. We have, I'm really surprised how something so small, it became so big, you know, because the distribution in the US, the distribution in the UK, in Germany, in Poland, in 21 countries more in Asia, like it's like in France, you know, and it has been already in 50 film festivals.
Yeah.
So the experience is amazing, you know, like it seems a bit stupid, but I feel really proud, you know, that
Sure.
I
Exactly.
could, there's something so, I could do something from something so little, I could make all this, you know, I feel like, wow, overwhelmed.
Why do you think the film has been so universally loved so much throughout the world?
I think, I don't know, I guess it's because people believe it, you know, like
Hmm.
either we are 20 or we were 20, you know, like we can identify with the characters, and we also, I think there's a need as well of
Okay.
listening gay people and queer people talking, you know, and just like talking about religion or about parenthood, you know, like because we don't listen these people talking so much this way, you know, and also I think the movies in English that also helps for the distribution, and also I think they are really good actors and really good looking, you know, so it's also attractive. And also I think Berlin is also an attraction for a lot of people, you know, like people love Berlin and see the city. And this, I think, is a lot of things that, you know, I didn't think when I started writing, but now I understand that probably is all these things combined.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. What are you working on next?
Right now, I'm producing a documentary that I'm not directing
Okay.
about sex workers in Moscow
Okay.
and transsexual women sex workers in Moscow. And I'm writing my second feature film
Oh, nice.
that I hope I can shoot in 2023, and it's going to be about immigration in Spain of a young lesbian who wants to become a bullfighter.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's a lot of things that I'm really looking forward to come back to Spain to shoot something in my mother tongue language and to show, I don't know, what is Spain for my eyes. Yeah,
Sure. Is it important for you to have positive LGBTQ representation in your work?
for sure. Because I will not know what to tell like without LGBTQ people. I don't think what I tell is different. You know, I think like we all know what is loneliness.
Hmm.
We all know what is to feel excluded. we all know desire, you know, like I feel there are universal feelings, and so for me it will be really dishonest or really like pointless to put a straight character as a main character of my movies, you know, like why I will do it if the 95% of the people does it, you know, like you know, like I feel more comfortable, and I feel I know way more these kind of characters.
Okay, well, great. The film is Boy Meets Boy. It's part of Out on Film this year. It's both in theater and it's virtual as well. Thank you so much, Daniel, for sharing this film with us. And thank you so much for talking to us. I really enjoyed having this conversation with you. I think audiences are really going to enjoy the film.
Thank you so much, Jim, again for having me. It's lovely to talk about these things, and I hope the audience in Atlanta loves the film.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to you.